Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for your daily dose of Chelsea news. It is Friday. I expect as today goes on, it's going to become a busy day in the transfer window. I'm sure there will be updates on the current Chelsea news stories. So I'm thinking in about 5 hours time, roughly 10:30 p.m, 11 p.m. my time, which is about mid-afternoon UK time, stay tuned for GBFC for a live stream where I'm just going to sit here for an hour or so, discuss all of the news that's going on live and discuss a lot of your questions and answer them. So make sure you've got the subscription box ticked. That was a bit of a long-winded way of going about things. Bell notifications turned on. And whilst we're here, we have got Kai Havertz news, we've got Malo Gusto news, we have got Pulisic news, Andre Santos and Mudryk stories to talk to you guys about in this news video today. Hit the like button. But I want to begin by discussing Kai Havertz. And this could go on for a little bit of time. I don't know how long this video is going to be. But Kai Havertz is rumoured to be a target of Bayern Munich. It was linked a couple of times that there was potential of Bayern going in with a January bid. But if you look across the top European leagues, there have been significantly less spending clubs in other European leagues than the Premier League. The disparity in expenditure right now between the Premier League and virtually every other league in the world is pretty flipping mad if you take a look at the numbers. The Premier League is spending, particularly Chelsea, which is great because then you guys get more entertainment from me. But Kai Havertz to Bayern Munich. Chelsea are reportedly willing to entertain bids of around £50 million in the summer window. I want to discuss this a little bit here today because Kai Havertz is a player who, of course, will forever be kind of gliding through space and time with Chelsea fans being happy and proud of that one moment in Porto where Chelsea lifted their second Champions League. It's an iconic goal. It's a goal that will go down in history as one of, if not the most important Chelsea goal ever. And since that moment, Chelsea fans, myself included, we thought Kai Havertz was going to kick on. Usually, if a player scores a goal like that, of that kind of level of importance, with the potential that Kai Havertz had at that point, and even still now, at 23 years old, you'd have thought by now there was going to be some level of quality consistency from Kai Havertz, and quite frankly, to call a spade, it's not worked out for him. I would go as far as to say it's been a bit of a shambles overall, really, from Kai Havertz, if we look at the bigger picture. I'm not saying he's a shambles of a footballer. I'm not saying that there's absolutely no chance that he's ever going to deliver what Chelsea fans wish and think that he can deliver, because quite frankly, I still think there's a really good player in there. But if a bid was to come in the summer for around 50 million, should Chelsea accept it? I'm going to give my reasons why I think Chelsea should keep hold of Kai Havertz now, and then I'll tell you what I think we're going to do and what maybe we should do after I've given the other side of the story, because I've been kind of negative about Kai Havertz, and I think some of it is vindicated from the level of performances that we've seen. He is our top goal scorer this season, which I think says a lot about the problems at Chelsea, but I do believe that will quickly change. Or maybe it doesn't change because of the role that he may now play as a result of the players that we've brought in. I'm just going to put a random formation up on the screen now that includes 3 of Chelsea's new signings, with Kai Havertz still in the team. What we see on this little graphic here of Kai Havertz, to me, would be Kai Havertz's best position. I think if Kai Havertz plays through the middle as a number 10, supporting the main striker, then Chelsea will see a totally different Kai Havertz. In the game against Palace, when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang came on, wouldn't say that Aubameyang did very much, but what it did is it opened the game up for Kai Havertz to drop a bit deeper, to receive the ball in areas that are not, we're trying to ask him to get the final touch to either score a header or flick it on to score a goal. Kai Havertz is a hard-working player. He gets back, he does defensive work very well, and I think at times the frustration comes when he is trying to do the job that we're asking the final man up the field to do, which he just doesn't seem to be able to. So, with this formation, I think Chelsea would see the best out of Kai Havertz, and finally, we've got the personnel, I think, at the club to enable Chelsea to get the best out of the Germans. So, This summer, 50 million, I'm not going to lie to you, what we might see between now and the end of the season is a big uptake of performances from Kai Havertz, which would probably lead to clubs coming in with bids of around this figure that Chelsea want this summer. I think Chelsea would probably sell. I know we'd make a loss on the player, but that goal, we could probably lose 20 million and just be like, cheers Kai, thanks for everything, good luck at your next club. But I think, and I'm going to make this call now, between now and the end of the season, Kai Havertz is going to have a serious uptake in form. He's going to score more goals. He's going to get more assists because the players around him are far better and less of the burden will be on Havertz to be that goal scorer. So, I want to keep Kai Havertz at the club. I want him to stay, and I think as long as what I just said happens between now and the end of the season, maybe Chelsea, Todd Boehly, Graham Potter wish to keep him at the club. We move into the news regarding Christian Pulisic. Now, some people may say this is unfortunate. Others may say good that he got injured because then we don't have to sell him, because some people still think Kai Havertz will come good at Chelsea. I've kind of been on my last chance saloon for Pulisic for quite some time. Yes, he is one of the most exciting players when he's fit. Yes, he does like to try and make things happen and take players on, and in that sense he's good, but the output levels, once more, are just not anywhere near the levels that Chelsea need. And it is being reported by Fabrizio Romano that if Christian Pulisic was not injured during the recent weeks, then he would have been sold by Chelsea Football Club in January. There were talks about Newcastle, there were talks about a couple of other Premier League clubs, and also AC Milan. But Pulisic stayed. He is probably going to be out for at least another 5-6 weeks. Will we see Pulisic come back in, get some game time before the end of the season? With Mudryk, who is what we're going to talk about next, with the way that this guy's looking, I don't really see where Pulisic is going to get in. Maybe, based off of the graphic that we're now going to see, without Havertz in there, maybe Pulisic can play in that central role behind João Felix. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. But I want to move into speak about Mudryk right now, because even though we're talking about potential sales quite a lot in this video today, and some bad news regarding incoming transfer deals that we'll get to in a moment, I've got to say, I'm absolutely buzzing, aren't you, by what you're seeing from Mudryk doing extra gym work right now. He broke the record for the fastest speed in the Premier League last weekend against Liverpool, and the man hasn't played for over 2.5 months. Not only that, but he's staying after training is finished to practice his shooting. I want to talk about why this is such a brilliant start, even though we've seen 35 minutes and didn't see any goals or assists. People need to stop talking about stats potentially for certain players. We'll get onto that in a minute, and I want to talk about the Andre Santos argument with that. This kind of mentality, it's something in football that is intangible. We can't measure the work ethic, the work rate in training sessions. We can only kind of measure it by seeing how often the manager picks the player. But what I will say about the attitude that we're seeing from Mudryk, all of this extra training in the gym, extra shooting practice, this is exactly what existing Chelsea players in the squad who have been under-firing, underperforming, that's what they need to see. They want to see a 22-year-old out there on the training field giving absolutely everything when everyone else is getting back in their cars, sticking the heating on when it's -1 degrees in London. This guy, Mudryk, who Chelsea have just signed from Shakhtar Donetsk for what people said was a ludicrous fee, at this moment when it's the FA Cup 4th round and unfortunately Chelsea aren't competing, we got to wait until next Friday night to see us play against Fulham. All of this extra work that Mudryk is putting in on the training ground and in the gym is making me so excited to see him in a Chelsea shirt. If you agree with me, hit the like button on this video, and we move into another player who is currently delivering, and statistically he's making everyone stand up and be like, oh, isn't this interesting? Chelsea want a midfielder. We're struggling to get a midfielder. We're going to talk about that in a second. But one player who is absolutely delivering right now in Brazil in the Under-20 South American Championships is Andre Santos, Chelsea's third signing this January. We bought him from Vasco da Gama. The man is only 18 years old, and he is absolutely firing on all cylinders right now. He scored 3 goals in 3 group games in the Under-20 South American Championship for Brazil. He's currently the captain. And unfortunately for Chelsea, at the moment, Andre Santos does not have a work permit and the correct visa to be able to play for Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea could well appeal this one. And I think foreshadowing what we might see moving forward as we talk about the struggles that we have right now to sign a central midfielder, maybe Chelsea will appeal this Andrey Santos work permit, because I think with young players who are coming from further afield, who don't necessarily have the right visa yet to be able to play for Chelsea, to be able to train at Cobham, etc., I think the issue at the moment is that Andrey Santos doesn't have enough points to be able to have the work permit granted. But if Chelsea can show that he's ready at a certain level, then we can appeal it and it might be accepted. I'm not entirely sure on the rules and regulations about that. I think some of it might even be open to interpretation. So at this rate, Chelsea can't sign a central midfielder. Enzo Fernandez was plan A, as I've seen some people saying on Twitter. Caicedo was plan B. Onana was plan C, and not a single one of them is coming through the door. And after today, we've only got 3 full days left of the transfer window. 4 full days left, 5 including today. So, Andrey Santos, 18 years old. The flip side of the coin, the other argument is that should Chelsea, when we're struggling, be putting pressure on an 18-year-old to come in and solve their problems? Well, that is entirely up to the people that decide to slate players, people like myself who decide to go in on players when we don't play very well. An 18-year-old, just like Lewis Hall, and when he didn't perform very well against Liverpool, I said it in 6 Things We Learn. Chelsea cannot be frustrated if an 18-year-old doesn't magically fix everything. However, we also shouldn't just be blinded by the fact he scored 3 goals in 3 games and is the under-20 Brazil captain. He also does so much else, Andrey Santos. Brilliant on the ball, always going forward, spatial awareness, which is such an important thing for midfielders, is far senior to the age that he is at 18 years old. So, if we can get that work permit accepted and positive, then why not just stick him in the squad? Give him a go. Chukwuemeka's come in this season, done a great job. You've also, don't forget, Cesar Casadei in the Premier League too. We're currently top of the league in the Reserve League right now. So, that's another one to watch. But Santos is making the headlines at the moment. Midfield targets, it's not looking good. And it's also not looking good right now for Malo Gusto, because the Lyon executive or president or whatever, he's come out and said Mr. Gusto will not be leaving in January. I don't know what that accent was there, to be honest. I apologise if it offended anybody. Apparently he's not going to be leaving in January, which does basically mean nothing, because if you remember last January, Newcastle wanted Bruno Guimaraes. The president came out and said he ain't going nowhere. A couple of days later, Newcastle have got their man. So, Chelsea, I strongly advise you, because it's been a couple of days without signing a player, so I'm getting worried here. So it's like an addiction, isn't it? Chelsea signing players. We get so excited about it because we're struggling and we want our team to do better. Maybe Malo Gusto will still come, but as of right now, he's not going anywhere until the earliest, the summer. That is the latest news. But the great news is this man, Mr. Painting Boy Thiago Silva, he's agreed a new deal. He'll be staying at Chelsea until beyond the age of 39 birthday. That was awful English there from me. I do apologise. But anyway, going to wrap up the news here. If there was something more positive to say about new signings, I'd tell you. Let me know your thoughts on should Chelsea keep Kai Havertz in the summer? Is Andrey Santos ready? Are you gassed about Mudryk the way that I am? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below and stay tuned later, because there will either be another video or we're going to be going live and having a little chat with you lot from the chat, and I'll be answering your questions. Stay tuned. It's Friday night. I'm off the booze in January. It's dry January and I've only got 4 days left, so I better succeed. And if that means staying in and giving you lot a live stream later, then that could be the best thing to keep me out of the pub. But anyway, come on you Blues.